My name is Linda, I'm 61 years old, and the day I collapsed at work is the day I learned two painful truths. My son didn't care if I lived or died. His wife cared even less, so little that she didn't bother to call me. She tagged me in a meme. A meme? Yes. While I lay unconscious in a hospital bed, with an oxygen mask strapped to my face, my son never showed up. And his wife tagged me in a joke about old people being dramatic, but hey race, what they didn't know, I had already prepared a plan. A quiet, patient plan. A plan that would flip their world upside down. And I would execute it with a smile on my face. This is my story. I've worked at Hawthorne Fabrics for 15 years. I wasn't doing anything strenuous that morning, just sorting invoices and reminding myself for the 15th time to drink water when the room tilted sideways. A hot pressure squeezed my chest. My legs turned into wet noodles. Then the floor rushed toward me. I vaguely heard screaming. Linda! Linda, can you hear me? Then darkness. When I woke, the world was a blur of white light and beeping machines. A nurse with kind eyes leaned over me. You collapsed at work, she said gently. We called your son. He didn't answer. My son, the boy I raised alone, the boy I worked 2 jobs for, the boy whose diapers I washed with my bare hands, didn't answer. I tried to speak, but my throat burned. The nurse continued, we also called his wife. She didn't pick up either, but she responded on social media. She turned the monitor toward me. There it was. A notification. At Linda the drama queen strikes again, face with tears of joy. My chest tightened, not from the medical issue but from pure humiliation. I wasn't even worth a phone call. The nurse touched my arm. I'm so sorry, but I wasn't. I wasn't sorry at all. Because at that exact moment, something inside me hardened like steel. They forgot who raised him. They forgot who I am. But they were going to remember. My son, Mark, hadn't always been this way. When he was small, he used to run to the door when I came home. Mama! Mama's home. But somewhere between middle school and adulthood, he drifted further from me, pulled away by arrogance, pride, and later, by his wife Sabrina. Sabrina was the type of woman who spoke like every sentence was a complaint. Expensive tastes, shallow values, and a heart as warm as a tax audit. When they moved into their new house, I offered to help. She said, oh no, Linda. I don't want old people things getting mixed with our decor. Old people. Things. When he married her, I stayed quiet. When she accidentally unfriended me on Facebook, I stayed quiet. When she told him, your mom is too dependent, we should set boundaries, I stayed quiet. But their silence during my medical emergency? That was the last straw. The doctors kept me in the hospital for a day and a half. My phone remained silent. Not a single message from Mark. Not a single call. Not a single question about my health. Instead, every few hours, another tag. A meme about naps. A meme about boomers and attention. A meme about if they fall, they're taking the whole family down with them. I wasn't angry. I was studying. Every tag was a piece of evidence. Every silence was a tally mark. The nurse helped me sit up. Do you want me to contact them again? I shook my head, no. I'm done chasing people who wouldn't cross a room for me, and that night, as I stared at the hospital ceiling, I remembered something very, very important. I wasn't as powerless as they thought. For 20 years, I had built something. Investments. Savings. Property. 2 rental houses. A retirement account. A safety fund, and my son believed, because I foolishly let him believe, that everything I owned would someday be his. But while sitting alone in that cold hospital room, I realized something. Why should a person who can't pick up a phone inherit the fruits of my entire life? So the moment I was discharged, I didn't go home. I went straight to my lawyer. Mr. Adams had known me for years. When he saw me, his eyes widened. Linda, you look pale. Should you be resting? I'll rest after this, I said. We need to update my will. He opened his notebook. All right. What changes do you want to make? Everything, I said flatly. I slid my tablet across the desk. Here are screenshots of what they did while I was unconscious. His jaw dropped. My son didn't come. His wife mocked me publicly. I want them removed. Fully. He nodded slowly. Are you absolutely sure? I smiled. I'm not taking anything away from them. He looked confused. I leaned in. I'm simply giving everything to someone else, who, you'll see. 2 years earlier, I started mentoring a young girl named Emily through a community program at the library. Her parents had passed away. She'd been juggling school and a part-time job while trying to raise her younger brother. She was bright, hardworking, polite, and always called me Miss Linda even after I told her to stop. When I collapsed, guess who called me? Guess who came to visit? Guess who held my hand and said, "You scared me, Miss Linda. Don't do that again, not my son." A teenager with a kind heart. So yes, my entire estate? My savings? My property? All to Emily and her brother. Mr. Adams stared at me. This is a massive change. Are you sure? Absolutely, I said. Blood makes you related. Loyalty makes you family. And with a final signature, the ink barely dry, the trap was set. It took 3 days for Mark to finally call. Not out of worry. Not out of guilt. I had posted a single photo on Facebook, a hospital bracelet. Nothing else. Ding, Mark, Mom? Are you okay? Why didn't you tell us? I ignored him. Ding, Mark, Mom. Please answer, then Sabrina chimed in. Sabrina, you should have called us. We're very busy. It's not fair to make us feel guilty. Feel guilty. I smiled. They wanted attention? They wanted to pretend to care? Perfect. I texted back. Come visit me tomorrow. Both of you. I have something to give you. Within seconds, Mark, of course, Mom. We'll be there, but Sabrina added, will it take long? We have an appointment after an appointment. After 3 days of silence. Fine. Let the games begin. They arrived at my house the next afternoon. Sabrina's heels clacked like she was annoyed just by being present. Mark looked around and said, Mom, you should have told us you were sick. I tilted my head. Didn't the doctor call you? He did, Mark mumbled. And you didn't come. He rubbed the back of his neck. It was bad timing, Sabrina chimed in. Honestly, Linda, fainting isn't that serious. Older people faint all the time. You scared everyone over nothing. I felt my jaw stiffen. But I kept my voice calm. I see. Well, since you're here, I wanted to give you something. Their eyes sparkled. Of course they thought it was money. Or property paperwork. Or a key to something valuable. I handed them an envelope. Mark opened it. His face drained of color. Mom. This is your will. Yes, I said sweetly. Updated yesterday. Sabrina snatched the papers. Her eyes widened. This says everything goes to some girl? Who is she? Why is she in your will? Her name is Emily, I said. She visited me in the hospital. Mark stepped forward. Mom, you can't be serious. You're leaving everything to a stranger who showed me more love in one afternoon than you two have in 5 years. Sabrina slammed the papers down. This is emotional manipulation. No, dear, I said softly. This is consequences. Mark's face twisted. Mom, this isn't fair. Fair? I repeated. You ignored calls from a hospital. She held my hand while I was unconscious. You tell me what's fair. They both stood frozen. I leaned back in my chair. But don't worry, I said, smiling. I didn't leave you nothing. Their faces brightened slightly. I left you each one thing. I reached into a drawer and pulled out 2 printed screenshots. One was the meme Sabrina tagged me in. The other was the comment Mark left under it. LOL, she's so dramatic. I handed one to each of them. That, I said, is your inheritance. Sabrina exploded. You're insane. You're punishing us over a joke. I stood up. No. I'm rewarding kindness. And punishing cruelty. Mark grabbed my arm. Mom, you can't do this. We're family. I gently pulled away. You stopped being my family the moment you stopped treating me like a human being. Silence. Heavy, cold silence. Sabrina stormed toward the door. Come on, Mark. She's lost her mind, but he didn't move. His shoulders drooped. Mom, please. Don't do this. Then earn it back, I said quietly. Not my money. Not my property. My trust. He swallowed hard. How? Show up, I said. When I'm sick, show up. When I need help, show up. When I call, show up. And until then, your inheritance stays exactly where it is. He nodded shakily. But Sabrina hissed under her breath, this isn't over. I looked her dead in the eye. Oh, honey. It already is. A few days later, Sabrina posted on Facebook, some people love playing the victim. Especially older folks faced with rolling eyes, but this time, it backfired. My coworkers, friends, and even distant cousins commented under her post. You didn't visit her at the hospital. Why didn't you show up? You treated her terribly, you should be ashamed. Sabrina deleted the post. Too late. People saw. People knew. And I didn't have to lift a finger. As for Emily? She cried when I told her what I'd done. Miss Linda. Are you sure? Absolutely, I said. But I don't want anything from you except one thing. What's that? Live a good life. And be kind. She hugged me so tight I could barely breathe. The kind of hug my own son rarely gave anymore. Revenge isn't always loud. It isn't always dramatic. Sometimes the best revenge is simply shifting your love from people who waste it to people who treasure it. But the universe wasn't finished. 2 months later, Mark called me. Voice shaking, Mom, can I come over? When he arrived, he sat quietly on my sofa, head down. I thought about what you said, he whispered. I wasn't there for you. I've been a terrible son. I didn't speak. He continued, Sabrina said I shouldn't apologize. She said you were being manipulative. But I don't care. I'm sorry, Mom. Please forgive me. My heart cracked a little. I forgave him. Of course I did. But trust? That needed to be rebuilt. We talked for hours. He cried. I cried. And for the first time in years, I saw my son again. The real him. The boy who used to run to the door. Eventually, he said something I didn't expect. Mom, I think I want a divorce. I froze. Why? He wiped his face. Because she never cared. Not about you. Not about us. And I don't want that life anymore. I placed my hand on his. You deserve better. He nodded. And for the first time in a long time I felt peace. 6 months later, Sabrina tried to contest my will. She failed spectacularly. Because Mr. Adams had documented everything. Screenshots. Hospital reports. Her public posts. Her neglect. The judge dismissed her attempt almost instantly. And to add salt? She had to pay the legal fees. When she stormed out of the courtroom, she pointed at me and screamed, "This is your fault." I smiled gently, "No, dear. This is yours. I'm 61 years old. I live peacefully. I garden. I bake. I mentor kids at the library. Emily visits every week. Her brother calls me Auntie Linda. Mark and I are rebuilding. Slowly, carefully. Brick by emotional brick. And Sabrina? She's nothing more than a distant memory, a lesson, not a loss. Because here's what I've learned. Sometimes, life collapses you so you can rise differently. Sometimes, losing people is how you gain yourself. And sometimes, the sweetest revenge is choosing who deserves a place in your heart and who doesn't. I didn't get angry. I didn't shout. I didn't fight. I simply shifted my love. And that was enough to change everything.